So what is growth hormone prescribed for? Well, you got kids growth hormone deficiency disorder, adult growth hormone deficiency disorder, and muscle wasting through HIV patients. Those are the three that are really supposed to get prescribed for. Not for injury-related or recovery repair, not for anti-aging purposes. How to control high hematocrit on TRT. Don't want to do blood draws every 2 months. What's your opinion on testosterone? Or is GH just far superior in both healing, bodybuilding effects? Hi, can I build massive physique as I work night shifts 5 days per week? How do you plan a day for growth? You got to plan your schedule at that point. If you're working 5 days per week, night shifts, then you're going to probably want to go in before your shift starts, I would imagine. Go train. A lot of people do this, right? So, like, let's say it's a day shift. And then I'll just give you an example of my employees. Some of my employees come at 8:30 a.m. in the morning. What do? Because they leave at like 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. It's a long day. So rather than them waiting until after the day is done, and maybe they're burnt out, they're fried, whatever it is, they go do it before the shift. And at that point, I think that works best for a lot of people, in my opinion. You know, if it wasn't a real late night, you know, if it was a day shift and you wanted to go work out afterwards at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, I've done that too. So, you know, I mean, I guess it's really up to you. And at that point, you really got to plan around what you're going to be doing: eating, training, sleeping, and then working.
Yeah, most of the cops I've trained with in the past, they do the night shifts and then just train at 4 in the morning. But it's just they're eating through the nights, just like anybody else. Your hours are just your hours, my friend.
Yep. What's your opinion? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Don't call me a goat head. Why are you being mean?
What's your opinion on testosterone, or is GH just far superior in both healing, bodybuilding effects? Listen, I'm not going to say that GH isn't more powerful than testosterone would be. Yes. Is there more risk with using it? Yes. Is it more expensive than testosterone? Yes. Does testosterone have great benefits? Absolutely. And testosterone is going to naturally ramp up your pituitary instead of just putting synthetic growth hormone in your body. So at that point, there's a plus there. Testosterone, obviously, attacking visceral belly fat. Let's say GH won't help with body fat too as well, but testosterone is by far superior because more natural GH production on your own, and then at that point, a fraction of the cost. I've seen some influencer talking about, I think his name is Dr. Todd. I don't want to call him out, but he's like, to all you guys taking GH secretagogues, you're all wasting your money, and you're all just getting played by clinics. And I'm like, okay. He's like, just do GH. Great. Tell me how many clinics you see out there on your timelines, because you know everybody's advertising for everything nowadays, right? Tell me how many clinics out there advertise for selling growth hormone and how many ads you've ever seen about it. Probably not any. Probably zero. Never. The reason is the federal government takes it very serious with growth hormone. Right? The FDA, the DEA, they do this because before, like in the 80s, you could get compounded growth hormone. And a lot of people were using their insurance to get growth hormone, and it was very expensive then. It just keeps getting more and more expensive as we go on. So right then and there, what happened was the insurance, and then a lot of the insurance we were getting used was TRICARE. If you don't know what TRICARE is, that's usually for military service. And then you're starting to mess with the federal government money. That really cracked down on growth hormone, and then they made a biologic so you couldn't compound it anymore. So that's why you don't see compounded growth hormone. The other thing is there were doctors that were prescribing growth hormone in the 90s. And what happened to them in South Florida? They got their license taken away. They will look at this very hardcore, and it's one of the only drugs, it's not a controlled substance, but they specifically do not want it used for off-label use. So what is growth hormone prescribed for? Well, you got kids growth hormone deficiency disorder, adult growth hormone deficiency disorder, and muscle wasting through HIV patients. Those are the three that are really supposed to get prescribed for. Not for injury-related or recovery or repair, not for anti-aging purposes, none of these things.
Not for getting jacked?
Not for getting jacked.
Yeah.
Not for getting jacked. Now, listen, there's a ton of guys out there who say, I'm taking growth hormone. Are you, though? Because all of them are getting it from China, black tops, red tops, yellow tops, whatever tops. And at that point, they're like, oh, well, we're just going to test our GH serum in blood. I'm like, that does nothing. Like, all right, great, your GH serum's high. What is it converting into that you get all the benefits from growth hormone? That's IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. And that's what you blood test for, because you want to see how much you're really getting out of it in conversion, because that's what does all the magic. So at that point, like, a lot of people might think they're taking growth hormone and they're really not. Or they're taking so much underdose growth hormone. Like, man, I feel it in my hands. They're numb. They're numb. I'm getting numb. It's working. Let's do a blood test and see. Like, let's not play the antidotal Frankenstein. Like, oh, I think it must be. You see it on black and white, and you correlate with whatever's going on with the blood work. And at that point, you can really make it. You know, you can make a decision. That, hey, listen, this is working. It's not working. So, the other thing about it is growth hormone is super expensive. I don't care what anybody says out there. I'll give you an example right off the bat. A 5.8 milligram vial of growth hormone, which is 17 IUs. Okay. That vial alone is going to cost me $460. What do you sell that to a client to? Well, 2 times probably is what you're going to probably sell it to a client for. And that bottle is probably going to get you through 2 or 3 days. Maybe a little bit more, 4 or 5, maybe tops. So what are you spending on that per month? A lot of people can't spend that money. I got patients that can, but at that point, listen, we're still not offering to patients because we don't want any agency coming to knock on our door for any problems. So if you can get real growth hormone, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but if you use it correctly, it might be a great tool, but a lot of people can't get a hold of the real deal. How to control high hematocrit on TRT. Don't want to do blood draws every 2 months. Understandable. So this goes along with a couple different things, and you should be looking at 3 major items when you're looking at a complete blood cell count. One, you're looking at red blood cell count, you're looking at hemoglobin, and you're looking at hematocrit. If one of these is a little high, that's one thing. Usually all 3 of them will be high, and then there's a couple things you're going to have to do. With these things getting high and them getting super high, what happens is that blood keeps getting thicker and thicker and thicker. So what happens? If it gets too thick, it's hard to pump throughout the body. And that's where blood clots, strokes, DVTs, and heart attacks come from. But at that point, how can you lower this down? Well, one main thing that a lot of people do not do is they don't hydrate properly. Hydrating properly can definitely lower this a little bit. Now, some people, they're going to have to get blood donations. And either way, for TRT or HRT maintenance, you should be getting at least 2 donations every single year, at least every 6 months. Some people do it every 3 months. There's not a problem with that. And I understand that you don't want to go in and do this, but listen, I would hydrate, make sure you're good there. If you have to, you can lower the dose. I don't like lowering the dose on everybody because it starts messing with all the other, optimal things that are going on. So, but it is something you can do, which at that point will lower down and might not feel as good, but you might not have to do as many blood donations. All right. Johnny, is there a peptide to help with lower back issues caused by ruptured discs? So the biggest thing I think would be inflammation. Now, there's nothing that's going to fix a ruptured disc that we have in our tool belt here. I'm sorry. I wish, and hopefully there will be soon. But nothing like that. But what do we want to do in this situation, I guess? When I want to contribute to lowering down inflammation, and this is where BPC and TB500 and KPV really come into play. You can use these things, and it should help with that, which would lower hopefully some pain issues. Now, if there's nerves caught in there, ARI 290 would be another approach, but that would probably be your best options on the table. I'm slicing down, keeping the diet the same, but increasing the steps to 10,000 daily. When I hit the step target, I have no energy left over for training. What am I doing wrong? Well, I guess the diet, we got to see where that's at. Are you feeding yourself? Are you fueling yourself enough? That's one thing. And I guess after that, we want to look at maybe, is training more important than the 10,000 steps? Because I would talk about maybe doing the training before getting all these steps in. And then afterwards, after you're done with the training, whatever you have left in the tank, that's when you get like a stair stepper or you start walking or whatever it is. Also, age want to make sure hormones are dialed in. If you're 40 years old, you're fatigued easy, not recovering quick enough, like all these different things too as well.
So does this go along with the like the watches and stuff? Jeff was saying this is kind of like the, I don't want to say the housewife, but that kind of.
10,000 steps is the social media standard.
Yeah, that's the standard, 10,000 steps.
You do 10,000 steps, you're going to be in shape.
You're good. That's what you need to hit.
And that worked. That worked for people, and they like the sounds of that.
It's numbers and targets like that are very easy to see. They're tangible. And a lot of people get tricked with data and numbers.
Yeah, and listen, data numbers are great. I love data numbers. I'm a big guy like as far as that goes. But what's really going to move the needle? What's really going to move the needle? And that's training. Your training should be number one, and then after that it should be your cardio, your steps, or whatever it is. I think that's the best route to plan.
Maybe this person is just older and out of shape. So this might be just the basic for them to do. So if that's the case, then just make sure the nutrition's on point and your weight is moving, or at least the clothes is fitting differently. Because you're falling into a good sales pitch on, hey, you just stay in a deficit, walk your 10,000 steps, you're going to get in better shape. And it's like, oh, you're right.
Or you could take ECAs. You can take an ECA, I guess, guarantee you get some energy, maybe push through that workout.
Person says they're also training. So you can't be too far gone to where you're the individual that only wakes up and gets their steps in. Because you're also, you got a mindset that you want to train. So the training is the most important thing. So, I mean, that just by far beats anything else.
Mo would gain weight on 10,000 steps.
Yeah, she would.
Or slow her down.
Yeah. It just, to me, it sounds like you're something you read is getting you to
limit.
Yeah, it's going to hurt you in the long run. Get your workouts in, kiddo.
Definitely.